Celestia Quixs has a song to finish, a lifetime to document, and an AI collaborator who tops out at 30 seconds, which is either a metaphor or a production note. Possibly both.
This episode follows one post, a full conversation between Celestia Quixs and Gemini AI about turning raw, deeply personal lyrics into a structured, multi-movement song about maternal neglect and identity reclamation. Let's get into the work itself.
The post opens with a piece of writing that arrives fully formed. No preamble, no framing, just lyrics dropped into a conversation with an AI. The question the rest of the post tries to answer is, what do you do with something that raw, and how do you build a song around it without softening the truth?
Gemini's first response sets the stakes precisely. After reading the lyrics, it tells Celestia, the repetition of the question, "Where was the mom I deserved?" acts as a grounding anchor for the reader, contrasting the expectation of maternal care against the reality of the neglect and harm you cataloged.
That refrain does a specific structural job. It's not just emotional repetition. Each time it lands, it follows a new decade of documented harm. By the final stanza, the question has stopped being a question.
The lyrics themselves run chronologically, from age 3 to age 65, with each stanza naming a specific betrayal. Parentification at 3, ridicule at 14, social sabotage at 16. The final line, "The mother I got lets me die alone," shifts from the recurring question into a declarative statement, and Gemini flags that pivot as the song's structural backbone.
The conversation then moves into genre, which is where it gets genuinely interesting. Celestia doesn't want a single sonic register. She wants the music to age alongside the narrator.
The genre map that emerges is anchored to actual decades Celestia lived through. Baroque pop and Celesta for childhood, classic rock and disco for adolescence. And here, the post makes a correction that matters. Gemini initially suggested punk, and Celestia pushed back. Those were not her teenage years.
An AI getting the era wrong and a human composer correcting the record. That's the collaboration the post is actually arguing for.
Grunge for early adulthood, representing what Gemini calls the triangulation years. Then symphonic metal paired with a full orchestra for the final movement. The transition between the third and fourth stanzas is a purely instrumental guitar bridge. No vocals, just the music carrying the shift from sludge to reckoning.
The Celesta runs through all of it. Celestia legally changed her name in January 2024 as a symbolic severance from her family. And the Celesta, a bell-toned keyboard instrument, threads through every genre shift as a ghost of the identity she was always moving toward.
Gemini describes it this way. The Celesta starts front and center in the childhood movement, then gets pushed into the background with heavy reverb and delay in the later stages. Still present, but struggling to be heard under the weight of the heavier genres.
And the vocal arc mirrors all of it. Church choir, constrained and timid for the adolescence section, because Celestia was literally in a church choir, and because her mother told her at 13 to stop singing. The final stanza breaks that open, belting, voice damaged by illness, ending in an exhausted exhale on the last line.
That exhale is the structural endpoint the whole post builds toward. Gemini calls it a dead drop, the musicality stripped away, leaving only the plain spoken fact of the final line.
The post ends with Celestia clarifying what the collaboration actually is. Gemini can generate a 30-second foundation clip, not a full track. She takes that limitation straight and names the real point: detailed human-AI partnership, not a generic prompt handed off and called finished.
The closing exchange makes the argument explicit. The AI provides the prompted inspiration and the harmonic sketch. The musician provides, as Gemini puts it, the soul, the stamina, and the final brutal truth of the piece.
30 seconds of AI, a lifetime of material. the math still works out in her favor.
What stays with me is the precision of it. Every genre choice, every sonic motif traced back to something that actually happened. The song isn't written yet, but the blueprint is exact. Next time, we'll see what she builds from it.